welcome Hanan Mullaji to the Indian Express Idea Exchange. Uh, he is a well-known personality, but I think he's coming for the Idea Exchange for the first time. Hanan Mullaji is an eight-term Lok Sabha MP from West Bengal. He's a member of the CPM Politburo and the General Secretary of the All India Kisan Sabha, which is one of the frontal organizations which is leading the farmers' protest. He attended the talks with the government also. Today also at 2 o'clock, he'll be attending the talks. So he's with us today. We can talk about the ongoing farmer protest. Since he's from West Bengal, we can talk about politics because West Bengal is going to elections in just 5-6 months' time. So welcome Hanan Mullaji.
Thank you.
The first question, obviously, Hanan Mullaji, is that from the farmers' organizations, the demand is that all these three farm laws should be repealed. So when you are on the negotiating table, when you make such a demand that all these three laws should be repealed, then where is the middle way? I mean, why are you talking then if that is a demand you have?
Talking when government asks for discussion. Because last 6 months, farmers all over the country are raising the issues. When ordinance were there, farmers were not asked. When parliament discussion passed illegally, that was also not discussed. After that, implementation stage, never discussed. But farmers movement last 6 months continuously gaining momentum. And ultimately, when farmers found that desperate, the government is not listening to them. So in a democratic system, what is that? So we decided to organize peaceful movement. And such a largest movement of the recent ages, not a single leaf was broken. Such a peaceful movement you have not seen. So peacefully farmers are trying to raise their voice and to carry the message to the government, which is not sensitive to the farmers' issues. And they decided to come to the capital and tell the government that these are our problems, you listen. But the problem is government insisting from the day one that these acts are as a panacea. Without, never a farmers wanted it, never a farmers organization demanded it. What we are demanding from ages, government not listening. But what we never wanted, the government is doing it. So this situation is there. So because of that, we thought, oh, really we have democratic rights. We have right to speech, expression, right to livelihood. It is livelihood questions. So in a democratic system, what we will do? We raised the issue and wanted to come to the parliament, Delhi, to tell the government that these acts, farmers feel that these are the death warrant of the farmers. Every farmers believe it. If you talk to the farmers in village, then every farmer, you talk to corporate, you will not get the answer. But farmers are not talked. No intellectuals, no journalists, all are giving sermons to the farmers and giving explanation. Narendra Modi and others, every day, galaxies of leaders, how good it is. They are explaining that we have got enough explanation. We all got enough explanation, but we understood, not less than you, what danger these three acts are there. So we demand that these acts will not help the farmers. That should be changed. That is our demand.
But Hanan sir, my question was, if the government is not ready to repeal these these laws, is there any middle ground for a solution? Are you willing to accept some amendments, some changes in these laws, or do you want these laws to be scrapped altogether?
Law we want scrap because if there are some mistakes here and there can be amendment. But A to Z, there are issues which are not for the farmers, anti-farmers. All the issues raised in the acts are against farmer. Because of that, farmers said that cosmetic changes here and there will not serve the purpose. So because of that, we say that this should be repealed. Government, not that government didn't repeal. 44 Labor Acts were repealed. 70 years to pass those acts. But all the welfare, pro-farmers, pro-workers points from those acts have been removed and made 4 labor code, where I say company code, not labor code. All the benefits have been transferred to the companies and all the benefits of the workers have been taken away. So if necessary for the corporate, they can repeal. But if it is necessary for the peasants, why they cannot repeal?
2 days back, when you had meeting with the agriculture minister, he made an offer, and that offer includes that a written legal guarantee for the MSP, assurance for the MSP, as well as some big changes in the law. For example, level playing fields for the APMC mandis and the private mandis, and the dispute resolution mechanism. He also assured that this will be the sections related to that dispute resolution mechanism will also be amended. So, do you think that these are considerable changes government is going to do these changes, and the farmers, like the farm unions, will be agree to these proposals today?
No. That day we raised it. All these issues. What are the problems we raised? We counted what the problems in the band. The government pick and choose somewhere and said we can consider. This is that means first they said there is no mistake. It is absolutely pro-farmers. Now are saying that there are some mistakes. So we say there are not only these 2-3 issues, there are many more issues which cannot be, by amendment, you cannot change the character of the law. Character of the law, we feel it is anti-farmers. That is the basic difference. Character of the law, by amendment of cosmetic amendment, it is a cosmetic amendment here and there. It will not change the character of the law. It will not make pro-farmer by these amendments. This is our opinion.
I just wanted you to just clarify what Manoj has asked. So you mean to say that nothing other than repealing of these bills to which the farmers were protesting would satisfy the farmers? Yes. You will not agree to any other changes or any other SOPs or whatever offer or proposal from the government other than repealing or withdrawal of these bills?
Yes. That is our yesterday all farmers organization all over India, not only Punjab's organization, not only the national bodies, many state organizations also joined yesterday. A long meeting was there. But all organizations are unanimous that there is no scope of accepting this law with some cosmetic changes. They say these laws should be changed and new law in consultation with the farmers can be framed to help to give the benefit to the farmers. That is the opinion of the entire farming communities in the country.
But comrade, another question, do you think it is, the BJP and even, people who are watching from outside also feel that it is an issue concerned only with the farmers in Haryana and Punjab? Do you think that, this is this kind of whatever your demand at the protest you are making, the agitation you are making, would invite or draw more farmers from other parts of the country? Obviously farmers have different issues. The Maharashtra farmers have a different issue. Tamil Nadu farmers, Madhya Pradesh farmers have different issue. So are you trying to rope in other, farmer unions and the farmers from other states so that, this is going to be a full-fledged farmers movement?
The problem is there's a calculated attempt by the government to paint it is only Punjab movement. And unfortunately, media is helping the government. Unfortunately. Because 9th August, there was a jail bharo against this 3 Act. In 600 districts, about 1 crore farmers were on the street in protest. So does the Haryana or Punjab farmers went there and did it?
You mean currently?
Hey, that is 9th August, Quit India Day. We say quit, corporate quit India with that slogan. About more than crore farmers all over India on 25 states. Punjab definitely in the forefront in the movement. But it is Punjab movement is in part of Indian movement. Indian movement is not part of Punjab movement. And all over the country, farmers know if these 3 acts are implemented, in course of time, it will create problem all over the country. Immediate problem Punjab faced because Green Revolution area had some immediate problem. But all these acts, when implemented, then all over the country, the farmers will suffer. That's saying that we are farmers are not free to sell anywhere. Right. 63% commodity is sold all over India outside the MSM, that is or control outside. It is being sold already. Why just lying the nation before the nation to mislead the people? Then the farmers, they say the wrong perception is there that farmers are very strong and they have equal bargaining power. The wrong perception. You know, if you had a lion and a goat an agreement, goat's point will be taken into consideration if it is not supported by the government. Really, the lions powerful will always impose in uneven agreement. That cannot be. The perception is wrong. That is our point. The government has making this law with wrong perception. Perceptions are. Then the deregulation of traders and companies without any oversight and information is useful for farmers. Saying, what is this? What is this? Farmers need the regulatory protection. Weaker people always need some protection. But in all the 3 acts, whatever protection was there for the farmers, all were removed. There is no protection. How these helpless people, 86% farmers are small farmers, less than 2 acres, how they can survive before this attack of Adani and Ambani and their grabbing effort? So this is perception is wrong. You have to understand, not go for general discussion. Then the question of restriction, farmers are producers. Please help us to remain producers. Don't try to force us to become traders. We do not want to be traders. Why you are forcing us to become traders? No farmers want to be a trader. They are producers, ages for ages. And farmers are doing. You know, after a pandemic, all the production sector collapsed. All. Except farming. That increased without government help, without any package, without this any new act. Without that, the farmers survived. They're surviving. Only we need the government should help that survival, not to destroy their survival. That is the government's attitude. We are farmers believe. That is the contradiction.
Why are farmer unions demanding that MSP be made a legal right? See, if traders will have to compulsorily pay the MSP, they will not trade, right? And if the traders move away, how does it benefit the farmers? See, like for example, say mustard. The trader will buy mustard. He will pay the price for mustard based on what is the price of the realization from mustard oil and from mustard oil cake, right? So based on that, he will say, okay, this is what I can pay. Now, if that is below the minimum support price, how can you say that the trader should pay? See, government when it buys mustard, yes, it has to pay the MSP. But if you say that, even private sector, trade, millers, everybody has to pay the MSP, aren't you destroying the markets? See, ultimately the farmer needs the mandi, right? But if the mandi itself will go away, because see, mandi is after all traders. If the traders go away from the mandi, then the mandi will cease to exist. So why are we insisting on the fact that MSP should be made a legal right? Yeah.
But can you tell, please, the farmers, why everything will be at the cost of the farmers? You do not have any cost. country had no ability cost, because we cannot produce with any products with faults. No, without any, all the products, without that you can survive. If you do not table, if you do not share, you have some problem. But if you do not food, you will die. Can you compare this food stuff with any other products? So why the farmers will suffer? Why farmers will be destroyed? For ages they are doing it, they are suffering, still they are surviving according to their strength, whatever they can do. Though now farming has become that is loss-making venture. In spite of that, they cannot leave farming because that is their way of life. But why you are imposing? Why you are forcing us to become trader? We are produce. Please allow us to remain producer. Don't try to make us traders. That is the question. There is no reply. Why? You tell me, when 4 lakh farmers committed suicide, you know that. Not a single intellectual, so-called corporate-aided intellectuals and many journalists never mentioned that till the neoliberal policy came. But when only Sainath raised it, and we, Kisan Sabha, brought 500 family from their suicide in Delhi, 2 days, 3 days, even Arun Jaitley didn't agree to talk with us, but issues raised. Where was the journalists? Where are the intellectuals when they are committing suicide? But now you are advising us, you take the burden, everything. All the burden will be on you and you have to suffer. Why farmers will suffer? That is our question. Basic question is not replied. Why you are only taking the brief of traders? Why you are only taking the brief of corporates? Why not taking the brief of the farmers? That is our appeal to you all intellectuals.
No, sir. What I'm asking is, see, like, for example, in the case of milk, there is no minimum support price. But when Amul is there, they will pay a certain price. See, without it being on paper. See, when something becomes a law, then they will have to compulsorily pay that MSP, irrespective of what the price of the processed product will be. So if they are not able to pay, if the traders disappear, if the private sector disappears, won't it harm the farmer? That is what I'm asking. I'm not saying that MSP is bad or something, but I'm saying, how can you ask the private traders to pay it? See, that is what I'm asking. Yeah,
we need certain guarantee. We need certain protection because poorer, weaker section need guarantee. You are giving all guarantees to the powerful, but you are not giving any guarantee to the weaker section. Our objection is there. A government has a duty to protect the weaker section. Now, gradually, our welfare state, India, is now losing. Now it is becoming more and more neoliberal state. No welfare measure, all are gradually be finished. But we are demanding for that, for our survival. Farmers, we think. Without welfare measures, weaker section cannot survive. We need some protection from the hands of this powerful people. That we need. For that we need your support. How you can suggest something? How we can, with lesser burden, we can survive. This is our demand. Because Swaminathan Commission recommended C2 plus 50%. You know. But what happened? Did we get it? C2 plus 50%. All this false thing, FL2, A2 plus FL, have 20 to 30% less than C2 price. And Modi promised in 300 public meeting, he promised before election. And after winning, he went to the Supreme Court and said, I cannot pay. These are not betrayal. Farmers are pained because of that. The government is supposed to protect us, but they are destroying us. This is farmers' pain. Nobody is ready to accept that. 400 farmers committed suicide. You know that, 4 lakh. Can you give me example? How many industrialists committed suicide? How many traders committed suicide? How many? Can you tell me? And if suicide, what is the reason? Maybe because of bad management of economy, because of that they may fail. But farmers fail. Why? Natural calamity is not in their hand. All these things happen. They do not get compensation when it is lost. Others all get compensation if there is loss. Farmers do not get. So we nation, as a nation, we have no duty to protect this on their annadata. You'll throw them out to die. That is our concern. We do not want this type of advocacy in favor of the corporate houses, because all the acts ultimately give the benefit to the corporate. Ultimately, suppose APMC, and that is when I saw this ECA, Essential Commodity Act. What is this? They are saying, no, we don't need an Essential Commodity Act now. So you are thrown to the mercy of the market. And a large number of majority people, they do not get benefit from the market. And your hoarders, earlier small hoarders are there, 1 ton, 5 ton. Now you remove hoarding. Now Adani Ambani will hoard millions tons of things. And they'll 2-3 people control the entire hoarding. Instead of thousands of people had some hoarding, now 2-3 people will control. And earlier, the hoarding, their government has accounted. What is the account? How much hoarding? To whom? Where it is kept? But now you are giving no information will be taken in this act. To whom you are giving the benefit? And ration system also will be jeopardized. So these acts, they're perceived to destroy the interest of the common people and totally in favor of the corporate. Because of that, our objection.
An impression is being since beginning that these are pro-farmer policies. Everybody from the government says that these laws are meant to welfare the farmers. It's the situation is like the government is offering G to the farmers, and they are not ready to take it. So how do you see this thing?
In a democracy, we have to fight to generate pressure on the government in a democratic, peaceful manner. What is the alternative? Either we stand and die, or we fight for our interest. Because poor people, they do not get any mercy from the ruling classes, ruling people. So they have no other alternative. I saw this APMC Bypass Act. It will fragment the market. Fragmented market, if farmers will not get, they weaken the mandis, and gradually the rich people take over. Maybe 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, then mandis will be over, and fragmented in the fragmented market, the benefit ultimately will be accrued by the corporate rich people. Now small traders will be also eliminated. Big trader, the enormous power. That is our anxiety. Our anxiety is that a government will not have any market intervention. Only in extreme war and something. Every day there will be no war. The entire period, the farmers will continue to be looted. There is no protection. Then you say, well, wiping out compensation. That is competition. There is no competition. You tell me what Jio did. Jio came with so fanfare as if we are reaching in a heaven. India is entering heaven, catching the hand of the Ambanis or Adanis. But what happened now? All others are gradually being eliminated, and some people who are favored the government or who formed the government with their power and monetary power, they are getting the benefit. Where is the benefit? All things are being sold with two families. Earlier, some other family was favored. Now, 2 families are favored. Our ports are sold to them. Airport are sold to them. Communication sold to them. PNS channel is sold to them. Defense are sold to them. Health and education system are sold to them. Now, land is with the farmers. Now, land also, agriculture also will be sold because 20 lakh or 25 lakh crores of business. They think that here is the easy maximization of profit is easier in this field. So much money. They are greedy eye on this huge market. It is easier for them. Running industry, there is a loss, but here this business will be enormous benefit. So they are greedy eye on it. And government as their agent, the bicholia. There is a fight is between corporate and farmers. And government is the bicholia. Government is bicholia in favor of the corporate, not favor of the farmers. This is the reality. Farmers understand this. Farmers do not understand, not that. Thousands, hundreds of years, they are fighting with the nature, fighting with difficulty. In spite of that, they're producing more and feeding the people of the country, made the country self-sufficient, and now they are under attack. So the basic things, we are raising certain basic things that is against the farmers' interest.
My question is that, what would you advise a 22, 23-year-old, young person who's born in an agricultural family? All the things that you've said right now, it's got to be tough to be in this farming profession. When you interact with somebody who's 22, 23 years old and, they have a view of selling off their land and going to work for some of these corporates rather than being independent producers, would you encourage them to take the risk and stay true to their profession? Or would you, encourage them to actually try to do something else?
My friends, you have to understand, the young farmer's son and daughter, they do not want to go in the farming because their fathers and grandfathers suffered.
Yes.
It is becoming a loss-making venture. So what is the duty of the government? Not to make it a profit-making. Only profit will be for Adani Ambani, not for the farmers, crores of farmers. The question is that we are saying make farming because it is the essential commodity. It is life-saving commodity. It is Annodata people are there. If there is improvement is there, government does, then even a section of the younger people also remain in the farming. But government is not helping to that. They only interested in to give it to the contract. It's now still contract farming is there all over the country. But at least there is certain control over it. Now this contract farming will be totally free. Whatever the stronger partner will dominate. And once they go for crops and give loans and give all the inputs, do you not think that these rich people gradually have influence over the land, control over the government? Say no land, only crop. But actually, will it happen? The wrong perception, the anti-people perception. In the pro-corporate perception, help will go to them. That is the policy.
Which was the best period for the Indian farmer?
Best period?
Since independence, and which time period would you say was Indian farmers generally happiest?
I tell you, actually, no government had perfect farmer-friendly policy. Farmers, they are working 18 hours. You work 8 hours, 6 hours. They are working 18 hours. Their entire family works day and night. In the rain, in the cold, everything they are suffering. They are doing, but they are in the receiving end. They are not getting the benefit. That we are saying the government should take the responsibility to some extent so that some benefit can be accrued to them. The government is not ready to listen to their problem. Only they are saying, advising, it will be good for you. Your income will be double. As 15 lakh rupees per head you got, like that. All these false promises will not help. Now farmers understand that this is hoodwinking the farmers by some good words, but they will not do anything for the farmers. Any government in the past also, they had not taken full consideration of the farmers' interest. All the governments. We are fighting all over. The farmers are surviving, fighting with the nature, and farming, fighting with the rich people, landlords. They fought against feudalism. They're fighting. So they all continue to fight. They fight. Nobody are so strong to fight against nature other than farmers. Flood, that is rain, that is all the snowfall, everything, all natural calamities, they stand and fight and survive. So they know how to survive in this difficult situation. But we need that government should extend their hand to protect them so that they can get a little better benefit to fight against the nature, fight against the adverse economic situation, fight against this monopoly capitals, fight against this massive and competitive, that is monopoly, then flooding of our market from our exported materials. All these farmers are only receiving it.
I'll just ask one last question. Sorry, I don't mean to monopolize your time too much, but you mentioned braving nature. To what degree is the awareness of climate change there in farmers? To what degree is the climate change awareness there amongst farmers in India? And do they?
As I go to the farmers, it is increasing, because when flood comes, they talk, Babu, पेड़ काट रहा है ना, कौन पेड़ काट रहा है? गरीब नहीं काट रहा है. Timber merchants are parting, who are giving, feeling the cover of this ruling party. They are cutting. They are looting the people. On the one side, they are looting the farmers, and on the other side, they are looting the natural property. They know, okay, that because of, if this flood increase, if there is no forest, if there is no things, then we will suffer more. This consciousness is increasing among them. They are also fighting for protection of the atmosphere and all this.
So you've time and again said that farming has become a loss-making proposition, a loss-making business. So how do you, and farmers have been asking for remunerative prices. So how do we go about? I mean, how do we reach this goal? What would your suggestions be? Because the government has been saying that...
My suggestion is there, madam, 6 lakh, 7 lakh crores. We are giving to them who are looting the country. Without giving any benefit, they are only looting by NPA, by cheating the banks, by cheating the government, by doing, and we are continuously giving them benefit. But why a part of our exchequer will not be given to the farmers who survive, who are feeding the people? As I have already said, that you cannot compare with their food stuff with any other production. You can survive for some time without other production, but you cannot survive without food. So food cannot be taken as just a matter of article of business. It is an article of life. That attitude, question is attitude. What attitude will take? That question comes. But unfortunately, as it comes in favor of the poorer section, so we are not concerned. That is the unconcerned people. Unconcerned, we know, one times the middle class people are vocal in favor of the poor. But now, after neoliberal economy came, and all have been victim of neoliberalism. We are running for better life, few people, and we are destroying the life of the common people. We have no concern. That pro-corporate, that intellectuals are writing page after page in favor of this corporate, and they have no sympathy for these poor people. Who will survive? How will this that? The question is your attitude. Whether we should maintain certain welfare measures for the weaker section and protect them from the attacks from the stronger section, or whether we leave them to die or whatever they do in the face of the attack. That is the question. Question approach, not the here and there some amendment or something. Approach to the farmers is not in favor of the Annadata. That is our concern. And farmers feel it.
Actually, in Punjab, a major grouse used to be about the commission agent or the Artiya, that he would get 2.5% commission on anything the farmers sold. And farmers also had to fill up a form, get it signed by him, and they could sell only then. So major grouse was that we are kind of bound to him, and the money would also come into his account. Farmers would never get the money. So now these laws propose to change that. So don't you think that would help? I mean, farmers would be able to get the money directly. They wouldn't need to go through, they were not educated enough to keep their accounts. So there were charges that they were not given their dues, etc.
No, these arguments, we keep them perpetually uneducated and cheat them. That is the system of our country. We keep the poor perpetually illiterate and we try to exploit them. Why? Because we are not concerned about their raising their consciousness as a human being, as a citizen. They should know their right. And when you go to exert your right, then you will be under attack. That is the question. The question is, government is talking of consensus. Very, very favorable word now. Consensus. What is consensus? A consensus in democratic consensus or fascist consensus? Democratic consensus means you listen to all, consult all, take everybody's concern, and then your opinion, others' opinion, and combine it and reach a conclusion. That is consensus. And what I say, you agree. If that is consensus, that is fascistic consensus. We don't agree for that.
You were saying that I don't want to play the devil's advocate here, but the protections and the safeguards that are meant to be done away with in the form of these 3 laws, they really haven't helped so much the farmers, right? I mean, their incomes have been stagnating by the accounts of most researchers that I've read. So is there a way that we can implement any set of reforms that would allow farmers to participate in a way that gives them more bargaining power in the market without becoming without furthering the neoliberal agenda, as you mentioned?
Actually, then you come to the farmers, consult them and listen to their problem and find out how those problems can be addressed within the some participation of the government, with some protective measures, and with some also freedom. We are combined. Reform does not mean all the burden will go to the farmers and benefit will go to the traders. With this reform, we do not agree. We think our farmers firmly believe that this reform will not benefit them. At the cost of them, few of the society will be benefited. And wealth will be transferred from the poor section to the richer section. All the 3 acts, direction of those acts are towards that. The farmers does not know and like that is not the fact. They also see what are there in every pages of this act, how this will go against the farmers' interest. They see. So now I think that absence of APMC markets, it will lead to lower price for the farmers, impact state government's resources of our market infrastructure. It will not be done because state governments are becoming poorer and poorer. Even from that mandi goes, whatever small income, that also go.
Your farm organizations have announced a Bharat Bandh tomorrow. So does it mean that nothing is going to come out from today's meeting?
Actually, we are not expecting much because government's attitude is not very favorable. They are insisting on that. That day in the meeting, I told minister that when your prime minister said thrice in Mann Ki Baat and after, these are very good, very beneficial. As an ordinary minister, what can you do? You have no power to do anything. The government, what is the government mind? Prime minister repeating and repeating. So I don't think they are only killing time. Lakhs of people are sitting in the cold. 3 people died. Very difficult situation they are suffering. Instead of a human attitude to solve the problem immediately, government is talking and wasting time to exhaust the farmers so that they are exhausted and they are defeated. This is the attitude. This is the attitude of a democratic government. Can it be? No sympathy for the people. This situation is very serious, we know. But what can we do? The one call is given on 8th. Because tomorrow, if the government consider today, it can be discussed later on. But as a measure to create an atmosphere, the government also create pressure also on the government. The farmers have decided if government does not listen to us, we have nothing in our hand. So they have declared certain method of their fight, struggle. Let us see what happened today. I don't think I did not much have hope in the discussion today.
Dada, you said that earlier thousands of traders used to loot farmers. Now your apprehension is that 2 or 3 corporates will loot the farmers. So what is this fight? I mean, is it small traders versus big 2 or 3 corporate houses? Because the farmers remain where they are. I mean, if the earlier system exists, I mean, the small traders continue to loot, and your apprehension is that now big traders will, big corporates will loot.
A sincere government can take action. How to protect them? How to harmonize the relation between the small traders, and because they are lakhs in number. You cannot ignore the number of the people. Can you wish that tomorrow there will be Indian population will be 5 crores? Can you imagine? You have to understand the existing situation of the country. You cannot wish away the existing situation of the country. In this existing situation, you cannot follow some way which Singapore can do. India is not a Singapore. You have to consider your policy on the basis of Indian reality. But if you run from reality and if you follow those country with few thousands or few lakhs people, it cannot be the problem. Problem is different.
But sir, farmers remain where they are.
Approach is different.
But farmers remain where they are.
Huh?
I mean, it's the interest of small traders that will maybe get protected, but farmers continue to get kind of looted. And
we said there, we need reform there. We do reform there. How they can have a harmonious relation? How they can, because if there is a price, if there is a price fall, the benefit, farmers do not go. If there is a price rise in the market, that benefit also do not go to the farmer. The government to consider how in that such a situation, how we can harmonize the situation, how can divide the benefit. Some benefit can be accrued to the farmer. If you consider farmer, if your farmers in your mind and form the policy in one type of policy. And if you think only farming production, trade, export, that in your mind, then policy will be in different direction. If all the policy taken by governments in successive governments, they formulate agricultural policy only keeping the mind of production, profit, benefit, export, import, all this. But they do not keep in mind the farmers. Our difference is that you start the policy from the basic understanding that farmers should be in the center of the policy, not this economic exploitation or the benefit to the smaller section of the people. That should not be in the center of the policy.
One more small question. So you said that farmers want to produce, they don't want to give their lands. Now, what we see whenever a government sort of acquisition happens, the fight is not that we don't want to give the land. The fight is that what is the price that government is going to give. We see there is a jubilation when there is a highway going through a road, because a lot of farmers see, because there's a stigma attached that you don't want to sell farmland. But when the government acquires, then the entire village sort of or villages sort of look to give away. I mean, I won't say that a lot of farmers they want to give away their lands, but it's just that the stigma is that they don't want to sell individually. But when there is a government acquisition, they are willing to kind of give at the right price. So isn't there a question mark on whether they really want to do farming? I mean, because of the basic problems of the produce fetching the right prices and the profitability being there.
So that I told in the beginning, as farming becoming gradually loss making, the farmers suffering. Because of the suffering, sometimes not all farmers, because land is their only asset. All people have different assets. But farmers have the only asset is that is land. For generation after generation, they survive on it. Why you take away their only resource of survival? Development work is necessary. We have taken enough thing, but when it taken, 20 times more than necessity, 10 times more than necessity, land have been grabbed. There are also our objection. Not that absolutely there will be no land is required for the development of the country, but not that, not much more than necessity, only to force people to their land. They because of that, they go for struggle.
In West Bengal, the leftists and communists used to have a strong organization among the farmers. But now we are seeing that you failed to consolidate the movement, its strong movement in West Bengal against this farm policy. Is this because that farmers are lost their confidence after Singur Nandigram episode, or the farmers are a bit in good condition in West Bengal? What is the cause basically?
Farmers are not in good condition. In this government, 219 farmers committed suicide, and land losing is also there. Farmers are not getting price of potato and all these things. That there, and we are building movement now. Farmers are also mobilized. A movement cannot go on endlessly. There's ups and downs. Farmers fought it. They fought for land. Then Bargaon operation came. After some time, a new situation emerged. So in that new situation, how to face it, how to give the further benefit to those, there is some lacuna, and because of that, some deviation came. But here, farmers are their problem at more or less same. Land problem, their cost of production problem, their input cost problem, all these problems all over the India. Bengal farmers also have the more or less same problem. So our Kisan Sabha in Bengal is not very weak. We are strong. We are some erosion was there in between because it's another reason. Because unfortunately, people forget their farmers and suddenly become Hindu Muslim. We said, you Hindu ho, Muslim ho, you are farmer. If you farmer, then you are united. But if you are Hindu and Muslim fight each other, then you do not remain farmer. You are the instrument in the hands of the communal forces, casteist forces. So that at certain period of the development, at historical stage in Bengal, the people are misled and they became the victim of the communal and casteist understanding, what is dominating other parts of the country. But now they are realizing more and more, and they are coming back to the struggle, because that is rural Gramin Bharat Bandh on 26th. Entire Bengal farmers came on the street. So we are seeing that gradually the people also realizing that if we have to fight, we have to unitedly fight. There is no other way. And we are working for that.
So related to that, many of the farmer unions are from the left. Now the critics obviously ask, you're this thing to represent farmers, because electorally you have not been able to make much impact anywhere. Bengal, you've been losing. Tripura, you lost. Outside these two states, there is not much of a left presence anywhere. So this question of how the left is leading the farmers' protest or taking active role in the farmers' protest come.
Farmers' movement, we do not always cannot equate with electoral battle. Election has a different issues. So because of that, always farmers' interest also there. They fight. But even after when they fight, suddenly because of some extraneous reason, a section of them deviate and there is a slip of their movement. So it happens. So that problem is there in the society. Continuously we have to fight that, because that is superstition, because of communal casteist feeling, because of money power. Now it has become stronger. In election, now money power is the major. In Bihar election, you have seen, their farmers voted against the government. Only 12,000 vote difference, you can imagine. Not 12 lakhs, not 20 lakhs, only 12,000. So these are there. Farmers are not there, all farmers, agricultural workers. Their situation is worse. Migrant workers, they are the family of the farmers. What happened to migrant workers? Your paper is they showed it in those days, how suffering people are there, how people died, how people still they went there, there is no job, now starving, now again they are trying to come back, no transport is there. So, workers, farmers, agricultural workers, and these migrant workers put together, they are the broader, bigger farmers' family. So, this section, all sections suffering. 100 days work, that never it reached 20, 30 days beyond that. Never it reached to that. So, we announce certain policy, but it is so half-hearted implementation that it does not help the actual those for whom it is meant for. These are difficulties there. So because of that, we have to build a movement, build a pressure on the government, administration, so that we can snatch some of the benefit, which legally we got, but not getting in the field. So we continue through struggle, we had to do that. We have no other way.
Last 2-3 years, you led a great movement in Maharashtra. It was a fantastic, remarkable movement. And this one is probably comparable to Kheda, Champaran, Bardoli, anything. And everybody knows that the left has played a big role in this current movement also. Most of the legwork, everything has been done by the left. I think that's what many of our reporters also say. How is it that the All India Kisan Sabha, etc., has been more effective than CITU, right? The communists were originally, they were supposed to be a party for the industrial workers. How is it that the Kisan movement is now becoming stronger than the workers' movement? Why is it that the trade union politics has failed, whereas the Kisan politics seems to be succeeding spectacularly? These are remarkable movements. Maharashtra, whatever, the Long March, and the current one. What is the reason for this? Why is AIKS more successful than CITU? Yeah, thanks.
There is no comparison, because the earlier farmers were suffering from problem. Kisan problem was age-old. But after neoliberal policy, that problem reduced to crisis. You have to understand, step by step. Now, there is no farmer's problem. Now, agricultural crisis. You also write, not agricultural problem. You say agricultural crisis. Now, we have reached another stage where the suffering is more. And we are trying to take up their cause. So, farmers are coming forward. But you know how the trade union movement have been destroyed all over the world. How neoliberal policy has destroyed the workers' rights, their attempt to unity, and how to make them subservient to the monopoly corporate houses. That international policy is all in effect. That is trying to destroy the trade union movement. And that is implemented in our country. For 70 years, workers fought and made many pro-workers act. Their benefit, their leave, their wages, their holidays, many things, pension, they fought it. But now there 34 Labor Acts have been abolished, repealed, because in the interest of the corporates. Now company will be easily close the factory. They are easily can retain people. They can remove they can deny the rights of the trade union movement. So these are the state power is directly involved in attacking the poorer section, either workers or peasants. These are two producing class, workers producing class and peasants. Those two producing class. Others are consuming class. Consumed class dominate because of their brain and their capability to make their lies to truth. Their capability to change the things which is bad They prove it is good. What is good, they can prove it because of their intellectual. And they're doing. But these people who are suffering, now the sympathy for those sections is gradually being reduced. It was seen even where we go at the last resort, we go to judiciary. And you know, last 5 years, 10 years after neoliberal policy, you see the judgment gradually, judgments rate in favor of the exploited people, poor people, workers, peasants is being reduced. This mental makeup is being changed in favor of the neoliberal policy, and this corporate is dominating the mind of the well of people. And because of that, this problem is intensifying. But still the workers are fighting. Still the workers are trying to come back. Whenever these attacks are there, they are not silently accepting. You know, last the general strike of all India, about 25 crores workers participated in 26th all over India. They are also started reacting. When attacks are more than retaliation and reaction also will develop. They are trying to build up, but they are working in a very difficult situation because state power, international, national, and ideological, then media, then intellectual, then journalists, all put together, they are creating pressure against these toiling people. Because of that, they're fighting in odds. They're fighting against all sorts of odds. Still, they're trying to survive.
Actually, I think Hananda answered the question that I had, which Utri basically asked. No, I mean, the larger thing, you are talking of this government and all the policies that it has taken in the last 6 years. Now, the farm income decline and the situation of the farmers, that has been on a steady decline for long before that. And you as, even in West Bengal, I mean, you were one of the pillars of the movement, which, Borga and afterwards. Those gains were not consolidated, and not just in Bengal. I mean, across, Bihar and UP for the last 20-25 years, there have been socialist governments in power for a long time. Now, at a political level, there was not enough mobilization of farmers, and gains were not consolidated. I mean, it is very easy to say that this government has come and has sort of neoliberal policies. There is no argument with that. But the political space was vacated by the left in West Bengal and by the socialist parties in UP and Bihar, which created the space for this. I mean, I just wanted to ask you if you have any comments on that.
No, I told you that, this new situation also responsible. It is okay that, this earlier when the opportunity was available for the left and socialist forces, they could not utilize properly. That's the weaknesses were there. And also they realized that what they should do more, next step, what could be done to develop that, whatever we achieved, to consolidate that and to go further. There are mistakes and there are some weaknesses was seen. But now also we understand that we have to again relook the weaknesses and where there are some weaknesses that we have to rectify, and we have to be more practical and objective in our understanding. And through that method, we have to work further. That thinking is also now dominating in the left circle and progressive circle. I think it will take some more time, but definitely the people more and more will understand.
So I just wanted to ask, sir, that, you've this movement has received some international attention. There are some diaspora people in the world who are also supporting it in their own cities, in Canada, in Australia, and so on. Do you think this kind of attention, international attention that it has got from the Canadian Prime Minister and from Sikh communities around the world is actually hurting the protest? It's become like now a security question. People are talking about Khalistanis. and all that. Would you say that this has actually been some kind of, has it hurt the movement? Yeah.
This is a ready-made prescription of the government. Security. Security has become, this movement, I am coordinating from Delhi. Because people are coming from different parts, but I am coordinating from Delhi, along with some other friends. So I got a notice day before yesterday from the police that 25th September, when all over India, farmers, crores of farmers on the street, a virtual one. So in Jantar Mantar, we had a solidarity program, as usual. When all of our things happen, we do it in a democratic space, we raise our voice. I got a notice that you have violated all these laws and you have to be 10th December, you have to be go to the magistrate, or otherwise we will arrest and put you before the magistrate. And the articles put in FIR, it may lead to the 7 years up to jail for a simple protest meeting for half an hour. So these things you have to understand in which situation we are. The government declared war against the farmers. When they started coming, they encircled Haryana. And they said this is sealing the border. Have you seen after independence any state seal border for other state? Even during Khalistani problem, then even the Punjab border was not sealed with other states. But now government sealed the border. After sealing, how they attacked, you have told how they have given water cannon, fight, and so many attacks are there. In spite of that, farmers proceed. They face all these things. They are coming. So how problem they are facing? Without such deep pain, they cannot suffer all these things and come. They want to use the democratic space to raise their voice before the nation that we are suffering, we are in trouble. All the people of India, all you stand by this Annadata. We are helping you for survival. Also, you also lend a little hand to us for our survival. That is their only appeal to the people. All sections of the people we appeal, workers, peasants, intellectuals, teachers, students, youth, women, all sections of the society. We think that they try to understand the problem of the farmer. Because our problem, nobody is ready to understand our problem. They are everybody giving advice to us. But nobody is trying to listen to us so far. No stage, nobody is ready to listen to us. Only they are giving advice. This is good for you. What good for you? And we do not know. What is even पागल भी समझते हैं अपना भलाई किसमें है. किसान की समझते नहीं. उसका भलाई किसमें है. Anyway, we are facing a very difficult situation, but we have no other way. We think in a democracy, we have a right to create and generate pressure on the government and different type of way of generating pressure. So a movement is one of the tactics of the poor people to create pressure against the government anti-people policies.
I am calling from Maharashtra, Pune. Now, in Maharashtra, we have the very rich and very strong legacy of Sharad Joshi Sahab and the Shetkari Sangatna. While Raju Shetty, the former MP, has supported Shetkari Sangatna, the group led by, which was founded by Sharad Joshi and now is being led by Anil Ghanwat Sahab. They have opposed the ongoing protest. They in fact have welcomed the deregulation of the APMCs, and in many of the farmer producers companies in Maharashtra are making quite reasonably good money out after the market cess was abolished for trade outside the market. Now, unlike Punjab, unlike Haryana, to an extent across other states, we have not actually seen ground swelling of support for the ongoing movement. So is the question that is there, obviously the way the Haryana government dealt with the farmers has angered everyone. They are angry as farmers, but on a personal level, majority of them have welcomed these acts. So although Kisan Sabha here has opposed it and Mr. Ajit Nawle has, Dr. Ajit Nawle has taken to the streets and everything, but there is really no groundswell of support as that we had seen during the Shetkari Sampa of 2 years back. So do you think the problem and do you think the ongoing agitation is concentrated mostly in northern parts of the country without much of effect in Maharashtra?
You know, there is a question. You know, in those days, the movement was led by landlords and rich peasants. You have to understand that, not the poor peasants and common peasants. So, rich peasants movement get some attention, but though they didn't achieve anything, those movement is fizzled out. But farmers now are suffering directly. Their interest is in danger today. Because of that, they are not that they are coming happily in the winter to raise their voice. Actually, during sowing season, that important work they left. The farmer said, in pandemic 1% मरेंगे, मगर in 3 act होगा तो 99% मरेंगे. तो हम क्या करेंगे? पैंडेमिक के सामने भी सरकार पैंडेमिक का आड़ में हमको खत्म करना चाहता है. हम लड़ाई को खत्म करना, हमको जबरदस्ती घर में घुसाने का कोशिश करता है. अगर आज हम घर में घुस जाएंगे तो हमारा जिंदगी और बर्बाद हो जाएगा. इसलिए किसान, in spite of so much difficulty, they are coming out. Maharashtra, I told Maharashtra movement is there, but all over India the same type scale of movement is not there. When Telangana was there, all over India got support, but not the same way. When Surma Valley in Assam was there, support was there, but there is no way. When Tevaga and Barga operation in Bengal, influence was there all over, but movement was not in same way. Kisan movement in history never ever have at the same vein all over country. It is nature of the Kisan movement. Somewhere it go faster, somewhere in a later speed. But this 3 acts will destroy the farmers all over the country. It is death knell of the farmers of all over country. Today somebody immediately getting attacked, tomorrow the others will get, gradually it will spread to the whole country. These acts are not for Maharashtra and Punjab and Haryana. These acts for India. And because of the all India movement is there, but I told in the beginning, the government and media consciously tried to see that it is Punjab movement. To divide between Punjab and India. That is not the case. I just told, 26 तारीख पूरा भारत में 22 राज्यों में ग्रामीण भारत बंद हुआ, लाखों किसान पार्टिसिपेट किया, तो पंजाब का किसान जाके पूरा हिंदुस्तान में बंद किया ना, वहां का किसान किया. Movement is there all over the country. People understand it, but according to the degree of attack, impact of the law, accordingly. The according impact, we understand the impact will be all India. So gradually people are understanding, and their movement, nature of the movement is also in different scale. It should not be undermined. All India movement, Punjab is the part of all India movement. That we have to, that is we are talking, which government and media is denying.
You have been sort of at the forefront of farmer movement, farmer agitation for the last at least 4 decades. And, you know, I know you don't think very highly of the governments that have come and gone and have not been receptive to, farmers' problems. If I were to ask you, you could name 2 or 3 leaders who you think were the most receptive to farmers' problems, farmers' issues, who had a sense of empathy for farmers. 2 or 3 topmost leaders who you think, it could be chief ministers, it could be prime minister, it could be agriculture ministers, and 2 or 3 are the worst of the lot, who have never sort of been receptive to farmers' issues. If you, in your long breadth of experience, who are the 2 or 3 people in both categories, if you would like to tell us?
You know, you cannot say by name some people, but people are there. We have seen in parliament, important members are there who raise the farmers' issue. But the question is that whoever become the agriculture minister in the nation, many of them, as I told, they did not formulate the agricultural policy keeping farmers in mind. All are formulating policy keeping agriculture, production, export, import, profit. That keeps in mind. That is the center of any agriculture. We are demanding that farmers should be in the center, and keeping farmers in the center, then other issue can be added. But there's a basic difference in the approach. We are talking of the approach. This approach is not available, and because of that, farmers cannot have any faith in these policies. We are fighting. है इधर आपका गवर्नमेंट भी है, पिछले गवर्नमेंट में भी हुआ, तो no government is 100%.
Yeah, I'm not asking about the government. I'm asking about the leaders, because you must have met dozens of leaders over last 4 decades. So if you could give us a sense.
I think the name is very difficult. People raise their voice for the farmers in different section of the farmers. Poor farmers issues, always that Hare Krishna Konar was there, Binay Konar, Bengal Kata. They raised the farmers issue. We have seen the farmers issue in Telangana. We have seen the Sundaraya and other people. They took the farmers' cause in a big way. In Maharashtra, you have seen Godavari Parulekar taken the farmers and tribal issues in a very big way. Such people are everywhere. You will get those people who took up the farmers' cause and contributed as much as they can. They have done. But opposed farmers, generally I do not name anybody. No government in the country in the past has absolutely pro-farmer policy have been formulated. Some cosmetic changes here and there, some small benefit have been given here and there, but farmers never remain in the center of the agricultural policy. That is our complaint against the government.
Okay, fine. If I say that you have seen a long list of ministers of agriculture, so which is the Minister of Agriculture that you found the most easy to communicate with or talk to or exchange views with? There are some, I'm sure, who have not even listened. And there are some, I'm sure, who have been more sympathetic. So if I narrow it down to agriculture ministers of India.
And when, as a central minister, we have seen that Sharad Pawar was a little sympathetic to the farmers. When we went with the cause of farmers, they listened, tried to, but not overall policy, it comes from their class outlook. But some specific policies they sympathetically take and try to do something like that. But overall policy, our objection is to that overall policy.
Thank you so much, Ananda, for taking time out.
Thank you, Dada.
Thank you so much.